The moon was dead, cold, silent. The Varric ship floated above its cracked surface, hidden behind a field of static that made them invisible to human satellites. Inside the command room, 4 tall, thin aliens stood around a glowing blue table. Their skin was gray-green, their eyes black and glassy. They were scientistlogical.com and dangerous. "We've found it," said lead researcher Keela. "Subject 7, human, stranded." The others leaned closer. A red dot blinked on the hologram. It moved slowly near a deep canyon. "Alone. Deploy the drones," Keela ordered. The ship released 6 spider-like machines. They landed silently on the ground and began to crawl toward the human. "This is perfect," whispered Vec, the youngest of the crew. "Humans are aggressive, violent. So one must be terrified. He won't resist." Keela nodded. "And once captured, he will help us understand why they're so different." None of them had ever seen a human up close. They had only studied transmissions, wars, weapons, explosions, chaos. Humans fascinated them and scared them. 10 minutes passed. Drone 1. "Connection lost," said Vec. "Must be a rock slide," said Keela, brushing it off. Drone 2. "Offline." Keela raised an eyebrow. "Unusual." Then one by one, Drone 3, Drone 4. Drone 5. Gone. Only Drone 6 was still active. "Switch to Drone 6's camera," Keela ordered. The screen blinked. Static. Then it cleared. The drone moved through the canyon, scanning left and right. Nothing. Just rock and dust. Then something moved. Fast. A blur. The camera turned but too late. A long, dark object like a metal spear pierced the drone's lens. The feed went dark. Silence in the command room. Then the screen lit up. A message appeared, written in English. But the Vorik translator read it instantly. "Wrong move." The aliens stared at the screen. Vec took a step back. "This ... can't be," he whispered. "Retrieve Drone 6's last location," said Keela. Her voice was combutter. Fingers trembled. They sent a small scout shuttle. It landed near the canyon. Inside the canyon walls, the Viric team found something. Not the human, not the drones. Just a single object placed carefully on a flat rock. A Vorik helmet. Inside it was a tooth, still wet with green blood. Keela stared at it. "This is one of ours," she whispered. "How?" Vec asked, his voice shaking. There was no one on the surface except the drones. Keela picked up the helmet and looked around. "Subject 7 is not hiding," she said slowly. "He's hunting." At that moment, far above them, inside the main Varick ship, a small light blinked on the control panel. A motion alert. It's from inside the ship, but no one had entered. And the door to the weapon room was now unlocked. Alarms echoed through. The Vorik mothership. Red lights flashed along the narrow metallic halls. The crew in the command center stared at the blinking warning. "Unauthorized entry Sector 4. Weapon storage? Open that door?" Keela barked. No one. Vec shouted, checking the security logs. "All Vorik crew are accounted for." "Seal off Sector 4, Keela ordered. Now, but before the command could be completed, the screen flickered. The ship's AI voice spoke shaky, confused. "Override accepted. Manual control." "Taken? Taken by who?" Beck whispered. Then the hallway cameras came online. They showed the long corridor leading to the weapon room, empty, still, quiet. Suddenly, something flickered past the lens too fast to see clearly. The camera turned static. The crew stared in horror. "He's on board," Keela said. "It's impossible," said Vec. "He was down there on the surface." "No," said Keela quietly. "That was bait." Down in Sector 4, something moved in the shadows. The door to the weapon storage room hissed open. Inside, shelves of high-tech rifles and plasma. Blades glowed under dim lights. A hand-human Scarred, covered in dust, reached in and grabbed a Vorik pulse weapon. The human turned slowly. His eyes were sharp, almost glowing in the darkness. His name was Jackson Cole, a soldier, survivor, and something more. He tapped a small device on his wrist. A hologram appeared, maps of the ship, crew locations, and escape pods. He smiled. "Let's play," he whispered. Back in the command center, Keela tried to regain control. "He's using our systems against us," she growled. "But how?" Vec cried. "He's just a human." "No, Keela," replied He's Subject 7, the one from Earth's Project Wrath. "He's not just human anymore." Vec backed away from the table. "We need to evacuate." "No, we capture him," Keela insisted. "Or we don't leave this moon alive." 2 Vorik security teams were sent to Sector 4. They moved in formation, silent and precise. With weapons drawn, they reached the hallway empty. Then click. A mine on the wall exploded with a sharp snap, releasing a magnetic pulse that disabled every weapon instantly. The Varric scrambled. Before they could react, a shadow dropped from the ceiling. Jackson landed in the center of the team. "Fast! Brutal!" One Varric screamed before being slammed into the wall. Another tried to run, but a knife hit him in the eye. Jackson moved like lightning, using the aliens' own weapons against them. Within seconds, the hallway was silent again. Jackson stood among them, breathing slow and steady. One of the wounded Varric looked up, barely alive. "Why? Are you doing this?" he asked in their language. Jackson leaned close. "You came for me," he said. "Now I'm coming for you." Upstairs, the command crew watched in terror. "He's not killing them," Vec whispered. "He's leaving them alive." "He wants us scared," Kella said. "This is a message." Then the screens went black, all of them. A single image appeared across every display. It was the same message again, "Wrong move." And underneath it, a countdown timer began. 15 minutes. "Countdown to what?" Vec asked. Kayla swallowed. "Hard. He's going to destroy the ship." Back in the shadows of the engine room, Jackson was already moving again. He planted small charges near the power cores, enough to disable, not destroy. He wasn't here to kill them. He was here to teach them a lesson. Don't hunt humans. Don't mistake silence for weakness. Don't play games with monsters. Cliffhanger. Ending. Vec checks the ship's life signs monitor. "There's something wrong," he says. "What now?" Kella asks. "There's only one human on board," Vec whispers, "but the system says to life forms we can't identify." Akila freezes. "There's something else with him." Vec stares at the screen, or inside him. Vec's hands shook as he stared at the screen. "Still showing 3 life forms," he said. "But there's only one human," Keela snapped. "Explain." Vec pointed at the display. "One is definitely Jackson Cole. The other 2 no. Known species signature. One is moving inside the human." Keela turned pale. "Inside. Not like a parasite," Vec said. "More like a passenger." The command center fell silent. Down in the engine bay, Jackson Cole crouched behind a large generator. His chest rose and fell slowly, but his eyes were not normal anymore. Something shimmered inside them. Second consciousness. He closed his eyes. And then he opened them again, but this time, it wasn't just him anymore. "Status," a voice echoed inside his mind. "Phase 1 complete," Jackson whispered back. "Initiate Phase 2. It's back in the command center. Alarms blared again. "Hatches to the outer hull just unlocked," Vec reported. "No," Kella shouted. "He's trying to eject parts of the ship." Before she could finish, the ship rocked violently. Deck 7 depressurized. 4 crew members were pulled into space. "He's forcing us into smaller and smaller sections of the ship," Vec said. "He's hurting us." Keela looked at the countdown. 7:14 remaining. "This isn't just revenge," she whispered. "It's strategy." In the medical bay, 3 surviving Vorik soldiers struggled to stay conscious. One of them, Sierra, had lost an arm in the hallway ambush. The door slid open. They froze. Jackson walked in slow, calm, but unstoppable. He didn't raise a weapon. He just looked at them, spoke. "I was part of a black project," he said. "Earth made me into something new. Something they feared so much they tried to destroy me. But you found me first." Sierra looked up. "What are you?" Jackson didn't smile. He didn't. Blink. "I'm what happens when you go hunting monsters and find one that bites back." Then he turned and walked away. Upstairs, Vec finally accessed deep level logs. He gasped. "Keela, I found something. Earth classified this human as Protocol Gray." "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means even Earth doesn't control him." He was infected with a hybrid tech-organic symbiote. It bonded with him permanently. The system refers to it as Xenocor. Kella took a step back. "You're saying it's an alien inside him?" Vec shook his head. "No, it's something worse. It's a living weapon." Keela looked again at the blinking. "Red timer. 419. He's not alone," she whispered. "He never was." Jackson moved through the ship like a shadow. Doors opened for him, hacked. Lights flickered, overridden. He reached the cryo chamber. Rows of sleeping Virac scientists floated in pods. Jackson looked at them. Innocent, asleep. Not soldiers. He paused. For a moment, the human part of him wanted to leave them untouched. But then the voice inside him spoke again. "They built this ship to hunt humans." "They didn't know what I was," Jackson replied. "They know now." He walked away, left them alive. Back on the bridge, panic grew. "We should surrender," Vec said. "Send a message. He might spare us." "No," Kella said firmly. "We take him down, even if it kills us." She slammed a button on the control panel. "All remaining crew, converge on Deck 3. Prepare a final stand." Deck 3, the last stand. The hallway was narrow. Lights buzzed. Dozens of Varick soldiers aimed their weapons at the only entry point. A deep silence followed. Then, bang, 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 3 knocks. Not gunfire, not boots, just knocks. Then the door melted. Not exploded. Melted like it was touched by acid and fire. Smoke poured in, and then he walked through it, not sprinting, not hiding, just calmly walking. The Varick opened. Fire, dozens of shots, plasma bullets, blades, nothing worked. Jackson didn't stop. The symbiote inside him shifted his body. Armor formed over his skin. Blades extended from his arms. His eyes glowed bright blue. And then he moved fast. Too fast to see. One by one, the Varick fell not dead, but stunned. Disarmed, defeated. He wasn't killing them. He was showing them. Cliffhanger ending. As the last soldier dropped, Jackson stood alone in the smoke. He looked up at the bridge camera. Then he raised his hand and pointed to the floor. A message had been burned into the metal beneath his feet. "Next time, bring more." Smoke still hung in the air. Keela watched from the command deck, frozen. The entire strike team, armed, armored, and trained for war, was gone. Not dead, not torn apart, just defeated. And he had done it without killing them. That was the most terrifying part. Inside the hallway, Jackson Cole stood alone. His armor shifted, folding back into his skin. The alien symbiote retreated under his flesh, like a shadow crawling back into the dark. He took a breath, human again on the outside. He walked toward the nearest terminal and placed his hand on the screen. "Beginning upload," said the voice in his head. A glowing blue web spread across the panel. Files began to drain from the ship's memory maps, strategies, weapon designs, Varick military locations. Back in the control room, Vec shouted, "He's accessing our command archives." "He's downloading everything," Keela said, eyes wide. "He's not just a weapon, he's intelligence." "But why isn't he killing us?" Vec asked. Keela didn't answer. She wasn't sure. In the cryo bay, alarms blared. One of the scientists, Dr. Avan, woke from cryo early. She stumbled, confused and cold. Her eyes caught movement. Jackson Cole stood near a chamber, quietly watching another sleeping Vorik child. The child stirred inside the glass. Jackson didn't move. Dr. Avon reached for the alarm. But Jackson raised one hand not to threaten, but to stop her. "I'm not your enemy," he said calmly. "You broke our systems," she replied. "You tore through our soldiers." "I broke your weapons," he said, "not your people." In his mind, the alien voice whispered, "You're showing weakness." "No," Jackson replied. "I'm showing choice. You're sparing the same species that made you a weapon. I didn't become this to destroy. I became this to survive." The voice was silent after that. Kella finally made a decision. "Open the line. Let me speak to him." Vec hesitated but did as told. A panel crackled. "Jackson Cole, this is Commander Kella of the Vorik science vessel ARC-17. Stand down. We're willing to negotiate." His voice came back a second later, low and steady. "Too late for that, Commander." "Why?" she asked. "You came to dissect me," he said. "Now I'm dissecting your ship." "Fair trade? Is this revenge?" she asked again. A pause. "No," he said. "This is proof." "Of what?" Jackson leaned into the camera. His eyes burned with the quiet fire of someone who had lost everything and built himself back stronger. That humans should never be cornered. Suddenly, a new alarm rang out. Beck looked panicked. "We have incoming. Varric battleship class. A dreadnought. It's locking onto our coordinates." Kella's blood turned cold. "They've tracked us. They think we failed to capture him. They're going to wipe us out," Vec said. Jackson's voice returned. "They're going to kill everyone on that ship. You, the scientists, even the children." "Why do you care?" Keela snapped. "I don't," he said. "But the thing inside me does." He turned and walked to the reactor room. Minutes later, Keela's screen lit up with a private signal. It was from Jackson. "We have one chance," he said. "I can cloak this ship temporarily, but it'll cost power and it'll burn out my symbiote." "You'll die?" she asked. He nodded. "Maybe, or maybe just lose it. The thing that makes me stronger." "Why would you do that for us?" She whispered. "Because for the first time since I became this, I'm choosing who I save." The Vorik dreadnought dropped out of warp. Its weapons locked onto the ARC-17 inside the small ship. Lights dimmed. Jackson stepped into the core room. His chest opened, literally split. Open, and the symbiote emerged, wrapping itself around the fusion core. Power surged. Systems screamed. Lights flickered, then silence. The dreadnought scanned the area. Nothing. The ARC-17 had vanished. In the darkness, Jackson fell to the floor. The symbiote was gone. He was just a man now, cold, weak. Bleeding, Kella rushed in. He looked up at her and gave a tired grin. "See? Not all humans are monsters." She looked at him. Really looked this time. Not as a subject. Not as a threat. As something more. Cliffhanger ending later in the medbay. Vec asked Kella, "What do we do with him now?" Keela didn't answer right away. Then she turned toward the human lying in stasis. "We learn from him," she said. "We protect him. And if the High Command finds out," Kella's eyes narrowed, "then we tell them the truth. We didn't capture a monster. We adopted one." The Varric ship ARC-17 drifted silently in a dead zone of space. Its cloaking systems were offline. Its engines were barely running. Power was low, but everyone on board was alive. It's because of him. It's Jackson Cole. He lay unconscious in the medbay. No armor, no symbiote. Just a man in a hospital bed. Pale, weak, dying, maybe. The Varric scientists didn't know how to help him. Their medicine wasn't made for humans. But still, they tried. And Kella never left his side. Vec watched through the glass. "He's dangerous," he said quietly. "Even like this, without the symbiote, he could still kill us." Keela didn't respond. She gently dipped a cloth into water and wiped Jackson's forehead. He twitched slightly. "Maybe dreaming, maybe remembering." "I read the files he left in our system," Vex said. "Do you know what they did to him?" "I know enough," Keela replied. "Flashback Jackson's memory dream. Earth, years ago. Jackson in a lab, screaming. Injected with something black and living. It crawls under his skin. He begs them to stop. They don't. He breaks a guard's neck and escapes into the woods. They call him a rogue test subject. They send satellites, drones, bounties. Everyone wants to catch him, not to save him, but to use him again." Back on the ship, Jackson woke with a gasp. Keela leaned closer. "You're safe." He blinked at her. "How long? 7 of your days?" "My body. I feel empty." She nodded. "The symbiote is gone. Burned out when you cloaked the ship." He looked down at his hands. "It's quiet in my head. For the first time in years." Then he asked, "Why didn't you kill me?" Kella didn't answer immediately. Then, softly, "Because we saw you." Later, in the main lab, the crew gathered. Jackson, weak but standing, faced them. "You have a choice," he said. "You can hand me over to your high command. They'll reward you." He paused, breathing heavy. "Or you can run." Vec frowned. "Run. They'll send more ships. Bigger ones. The kind that don't ask questions. You sheltered me, now you're traitors." Kella stood beside him. "Then we run." Some scientists looked shocked. Others nodded. Jackson added, "I have something they fear." He tapped his wrist device. Projection lit up. Detailed maps, troop deployments, command codes. "I took everything from their war servers before I left Earth. That's why they want me back. That's why they'll never stop." The ship changed course. They abandoned Varick space and entered a dark zone known as Sector Blacka Place. Even Varick warships avoided. Inside the command room, Keela pulled Jackson aside. "Something I haven't told the crew," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "You're changing." He frowned. "What do you mean?" "Even without the symbiote, we detected mutations in your cells. Your DNA is ... adapting. Fast." Jackson looked down at his hand. A faint shimmer danced across his skin. Not armor. Not alien, but something new. "What does it mean?" he asked. Keela hesitated. "You're evolving." Meanwhile, back in Varick High Command, a cold-eyed general studied the empty chair in front of him. "He escaped," said the officer. "With help," the general replied. He turned to his advisors. "Send the hunters. All of them. And issue the kill." "Order." A younger officer looked confused. "Kill." But the mission was to study the human. The general's eyes narrowed. "Ah, he is no longer human. He is a threat." Back aboard the Arc-17, the lights dimmed as the ship entered a red nebula. Jackson stood in the observation room, watching lightning crawl across the clouds. Kella joined him. "Do you ever wish it had all gone differently?" she asked. He nodded. "Every day. But then again," he added, "maybe this was the only path left." He turned to her. "Thank you for seeing me." Kella nodded once. Then, softly, "Now we survive." Cliffhanger. On a distant asteroid base, something stirs. Signal. Activates coded in old Earth tech. A hidden lab. Cryo chambers open. Inside, other humans. Other experiments. Eyes blink open. Subject 3. Active. Subject 5. Awake. Subject 6. Hostile. At the bottom of the list, Subject 7. Missing. Aboard the Arc-17, alarms rang through the halls. Jackson Cole jolted upright in the training chamber. He was recovering, stronger every day. Not fully. Healed but more alive than he had felt in years. "What is it?" he asked. Keela rushed in. "We've picked up a signal. Old Earth code." Jackson's face hardened. "Where from?" "An asteroid base, deep in Sector Black." Control room. Moments later, Vex stood over the glowing screen. Static flickered, then words appeared. Subject 3. Active Subject 5. Awake Subject 6. Hostile Subject 7. Missing. Jackson stared at the code. This is a containment report. A live feed from Project Apex. Kella looked confused. Up, Kex. He nodded slowly. That's what they called it. Human weapons. All of us test subjects. I was number 7, you mean? Kela whispered. There are more like you. Jackson didn't answer. He didn't need to. They all saw it in his eyes. Fear. Flashback Earth, years ago, a hidden lab in the Arctic Circle. Screaming. Fire. Shadows moving through smoke. 7 test subjects locked in cryochambers. 1 subject. 6 breaks free. He burns through guards like paper. Laughing, unstable. Jackson's Subject 7 escapes during the chaos. The rest remain frozen. It's present time. We need to leave this area now, Vex said firmly. If any of those subjects survived, they did. Jackson interrupted. That signal wasn't random. It was bait, Kella asked. He turned to her. They're not coming for me. They're drawing me in. She looked stunned. Why? Jackson walked to the screen, staring at the transmission. Because I'm the only one who ever escaped. And the others. They remember me. Asteroid Lab Sector Black inside the cold halls of the base. Cryochambers hissed open. Subject 3 stepped out tall, silent, skin like metal. Subject 5 followed small but fast, eyes glowing red. And then Subject 6 emerged, laughing, shaking, pulsing with energy. They'll come for us, Subject 6 grinned. They'll come for us. A shadowy AI voice echoed. Initiating recall protocol. Subject 7, priority target. Back on Arc 17, the crew watched the scan. 3 dots, moving fast, straight toward them. Vec turned pale. They're coming. Jackson nodded. You have to run. Take the ship. Leave me here. No, Kella. Said immediately. You don't understand, he argued. I was the only one who resisted the programming. The others, ... They're killers, born in labs, raised in pain. I don't know if I can stop them. Then let us help you, Kella, replied. Vuric Council High Orbit far away. Vuric High Command watch the data feeds. Subjects 3, 5, and 6 are active, an officer said. The general stared hard at the map. And Subject 7. Alive, but compromised. Traveling with rogue scientists. The general nodded once. Let them fight each other. The officer looked confused, sir. Subject 7 dies, the threat is contained. If he wins, we'll still know where to strike. Arc 17 armory room. Jackson suited up. No symbiote. Just armor. Old, scratched, human-made. He picked up a plasma blade and checked his sidearm. Then he looked in the mirror. Not a soldier, not a weapon, just a man. Trying to stop monsters. Docking bay. The ship landed on a desolate rock orbiting the dead lab. Dust blew across the ground. Wind howled through broken towers. Jackson stepped out alone. From the shadows they emerged. 3 of them, faster, stronger, smiling like wolves. Subject 6 stepped forward. Well, well, well. Look what the ship dragged in. Jackson raised his gun. It's over. No. Subject 6 grinned. It's just starting. Cliffhanger ending. As the first shot fired, the asteroid trembled. Not from their fight, but from something deeper. Buried under the surface, lights blinked on. Dozens more chambers, all waking. Project Apex. Phase 2 initiating. Jackson didn't know it yet. But the real war was just beginning.